All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm still pressing buttons over here. So I'm going to say hello real quick. And then we're just going to go around real quick and say hello to everyone, see how everyone's doing. Let's start with Christina. And then Christina, you can pass it along from there.
Okay. How are you, Annette?
Well, I'm still pressing buttons. I'm still trying to get things live, everyone. But I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Sorry, I just couldn't resist. I'm really great, actually. I'm really, really good. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to do some actions and save the orcas, and just always glad to be here with all of you people on and off the screen because you're all beautiful souls, and I love you. So I'm gonna say, how are you today, Marcia?
Oh, I'm honored. I'm doing fine. It was a crazy few weeks here, with the Florida storms and hurricanes and all of that, but we're pretty much back to normal, and we're grateful that we didn't sustain as much damage as a lot of other people around here. There's still a lot of suffering and flooding and all of that. So, but otherwise, I'm doing good, and I'm excited about being here today and hearing what other actions we can do, to help save Toki's family. So let's do that. And how are you, Brandy?
I'm good. I'm good. It's hot. I know it's hotter where you are. It's just very hot today in California. I didn't think we were going to be doing that, but it's good. Just the brain's working. I was on the phone with Dee last night a little bit. So we've been talking about trying to do some things together as well.
Awesome.
Getting into some schools or something. We're going to get some awareness out there. I'm good. Oh, I have to pick on someone. Okay. My brain's not working. Peggy, how are you doing?
Brandy, hi. I'm fine, thank you. I'm just feeling better with each day, and and I'm continuing also, as we all are, to do all that we can for our southern resident orcas. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to pick someone. Did somebody pick Howard yet? Howard!
I'm on. Well, I'm fine, doing well. It's been very windy here for the last couple of days, but I'll just say it now. We have J-Pod in Puget Sound, just south of Whidbey Island. There's a big area between the Kitsap Peninsula, the mainland, and Whidbey Island off Possession Point that we call the Possession Triangle, because it's like the Bermuda Triangle. The whales can get in there and get completely lost, and nobody can see them for days. So they're not being seen a lot, but there have been sporadic sightings of them. They tend to circulate around in that area because that's where the salmon circulate. They get that far and try to figure out, now, where is their river? So they kind of meander around, and it makes it a very happy foraging ground for the whales. So J-Pod is down there now. There's been no reports of any of L-Pod, no updates on L-128 since October 5th, actually. But otherwise, everything is just peachy here. Deb Cruz, how are you doing?
Doing okay. It's been what Winnie the Pooh calls blustery days, and lots of rain, and just watching the earth just soak it all right up. So it's good thing.
Thanks, Deb Cruz. So I'm back here pressing buttons. It looks like most of the people watching are on YouTube. So just want to let you guys know, those of you on YouTube, you can still comment, and we'll be able to put your comments up. And for anyone who's watching on Facebook or YouTube, click that little share arrow thing and get that to your page. For some reason, it's not posting directly to the normal page. I don't know why, but if you all share it, that will help get so everyone can see where to jump on. But I wanted to just kind of tell you guys about my weekend. So Friday, just this Friday, President Orca was at the Santa Fe International Film Festival. And I'll tell you, that was so super cool. So when Raynell told me it was literally like 2 weeks before, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be in Santa Fe. That's cool. So it kind of felt like a private screening for my friends and family, which was kind of nice because so many of my loved ones were in attendance and talking to people afterwards. First of all, nobody had a dry eye at the end of this film. And what was really cool was it was a big theater and it sold out. I don't know if I mentioned that already. So it sold out. It was wait listed. There were people waiting for the wait list to see if they could get in, which they could not because there were so many people there. And a lot of people stayed for the Q&A after. And I know I'm kind of jumping all over, but so at the beginning, I had made a request for some tribal leaders from the Santa Fe territory area from Tesuque to come in and open us up in prayer, which they did. And the governor showed up as well, the former governor. It was just really from Tesuque Pueblo and opened us up in a really beautiful way, in a really, so that was kind of the start of it. That was, it was really special. And then at the Q&A after, they stood up again as well and we're talking about how important it is to take care of all of God's creation. And again, not a dry eye, I think, including theirs, really impacted and how important it is to take care of our environment and our families, the animals. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's was completely honored during this entire thing. It was humbling, I guess, to watch, and it was really nice to see that everyone wants to be in action. What can we do? What can we do to help her family? They did an interview with I'm going to look at it so I can not mess it up, but Movie Maker magazine. And they were just boasting about this film and how impactful it was. And I'll put links so you guys can go in and read the entire interview that both Raynell and Sharky did with this magazine. Anyone who hears her story immediately falls in love. And when you fall in love, you're left with, I have to do something. I have to do something. And, you know, we all know the outcome. And while everyone was crying, I think everyone was left with a responsibility. I think everybody there felt a responsibility. There's a gentleman there that I talked to that I won't say his name because I didn't ask permission, but he actually worked on the Keiko project in New Charles and was like, wow, he didn't know that this film was about, that Charles was involved with. It was just this interesting thing, hearing from all the different people that were there. And some of the people closest to me being able to say, I get it, you know, and I get it now, you know, being able to, because that's all they hear from me, right? That's all they've heard from me for so many years. But Simon and Sharky did such a beautiful job of putting this film together where the people that got the play-by-play from me, you know, every couple of weeks or were able to see it in such a beautiful way that they just really, they got it, you know. Before, I think everyone got that I got it and everyone was supportive in that way. Like, this is what she's doing. This is what she loves. That's really cool. We love her. But it's different now for those folks. And everyone has a responsibility to do something. Elizabeth showed up, our other New Mexico advocate, with my Reach Now signs that she brought me. And so that was cool. And we were talking about, you know, reaching the dams and having those conversations. It was just so nice, you guys. And I know I may be saying kind of the same thing over and over, but there was something about this screening that was just very different. Someone was asking, did they know about Toki? I think some people did and some people didn't. And I'll share in the beginning, I was trying to get some seats together, and this one woman was not going to give up her seat. And she was really, about it. And I'm like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. At the end, came over and just her whole demeanor, her whole personality, her whole everything changed. And she just put her arms around me. And, it was just everyone left there in love. And of course, that's Toki magic, right? That's what she does. And thanks, Deb Cruz. There's a screening. So there's a screening tonight, actually, in Toronto. They're closing out the film festival. So it's quite the honor, the space to be able to be that final film of the film festival there in Toronto. So that's tonight. And then Red Nation Film Festival, I believe the 13th, Deb Cruz, is when Resident Orca is screening, whatever that Wednesday is.
November.
Yep, November.
Yep.
I think it's the 13th in LA. If you guys are in the area, please go. Please go. It's a wonderful time to talk to people when they are in that space of what can we do. A beautiful gentleman joined us for dinner, and he almost didn't come because he had to get himself together. He was so impacted. And then when he showed up, he said he had to realize, like, wow, you guys have gone through all of this. I can get myself together and come to dinner. But he was that impacted where he had to go home and just be for a minute. It makes a difference. This film is going out there and making a difference because people want to help. So thank you for letting me share that experience. And yes, people, please, if you're in LA, I know Toronto, if you're in Toronto today, go in a little bit. But yeah, in LA or surrounding areas, it's worth the journey to go, just to be able to have those conversations afterwards, to make a difference for all her family. So thank you guys very much. Peggy?
Thank you so much for sharing, Annette. Yeah, it's such a moving story and powerful. And so I'm planning on being there at the LA screening, and I would like to discuss with you how I'm going to connect with the people so that I can get permission to table with the postcards to breach the dams. And I would like to urge that anybody who really wants to take action to find out when these screenings are, where they are, and their nearest city. I wish I would have known about the Toronto one sooner, because I could have posted something like, people in Toronto area, go there. And we just added an action alert, another action petition on our Southern Resident Orcas page from Raincoast Conservation about it's only for Canadians, but urging the Canadian government to take emergency measures for the Southern Resident Orcas. And there are various means that that they're talking about, including regulating the fisheries more closely and all that kind of the many actions. But so that hopefully people will show up at these screenings and urge others to take action.
Thanks, Peggy. Yeah, we could talk about that a little more, you guys, if that's okay at the end, only because they're very structured is what I've learned.
Okay.
These festivals are very structured. Like we had this many minutes prior to the opening and the land acknowledgement. We had this many minutes after the film. I'll tell you where most of my conversations happened was outside afterwards, because people follow you. They're not done. But you know what I mean? So my conversations were outside. So let me find out who to contact.
Okay, that'd be great.
How they want that structured, and then hopefully we can have more info for folks next week on how that looks for that particular one.
Thanks, Annette.
Yeah, but you guys, we have to keep going. We have to get going, and I think it's important to kind of remind us maybe a status on where we are, Howard, with everything, and then we'll get into some more action items. Can I turn it over to you to just give us the what so, and then also maybe intro what we're going to watch on, Michael?
Thank you. Well, October is Orca Recovery Month for everybody. So Orca Network had our event last Tuesday, which was a 2-hour webinar with several speakers. One of them was Natalie Sanderson, the 14-year-old who was our guest on TokiTV a couple of weeks ago, who has written a little book and is really a gung-ho campaigner for orcas. And also Michael Weiss, who is the chief scientist at the Center for Whale Research. And he gave a good overview of how the whole process works, the photo identification method, and what has been learned, and a good update on where they're finding the whales and how they are. So with that, can we roll the tape?
Here we go.
Michael, if you could please now bring us something about the demographics of the existing population and their effective population size. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi. Yeah, really glad to be here. I don't have quite as polished a presentation, I think, as the previous two speakers. All I'm really going to talk about is quickly kind of give an update on where we're at with the Southern residents' demography and reproductive potential as of kind of our last census, and talk a little bit about where that might be going in the future and where we might need it to go. So I don't have any slides. I'm just gonna chat through it. So as you know, was kind of said at the start, the Southern residents as of July 1st of this year had 73 individuals. That's a report we published on this month. So what that means is, as of that exact date, using all of our census data, which we do using photo ID from before and after that date, we are pretty sure that there were 73 animals on that date. We very rarely know exactly how many animals there are in the population on any given day, unless we're lucky enough to, have a super pod and actually see everybody. So of those 73 individuals, only 24 of them are reproductive aged females who are not currently lactating and didn't have a known calf last year. That's important because in our data, we've never seen a lactating female have another calf, and killer whales have about an 18-month gestation period, so you don't see them having calves 2 years in a row. So as of the census, this last census, our kind of total reproductive female population is 24 animals. That's split between 9 animals in J pod, 5 animals in K pod, and 10 in L pod. That's not ideal. It aligns fairly closely with genetic estimates of kind of current effective population size from works our colleagues at NOAA have done, putting it, about 25 individuals. So while we have those 24 animals, those 24 females, it's not even quite that rosy. So there are 4 of those females who have never successfully had a calf despite being within reproductive age. So J46, K36, J36 had a calf that died quite quickly, and up until this September, we would have put L90 in that category as well. Her showing up with L128 is the oldest kind of first calf we've ever seen in the population. In addition, 14 of those 24 calves have at least one son. And this is important because we've looked at the data on what predicts reproduction in these whales in terms of their social environment. And it turns out females who have sons, who are caring for sons, are much less likely to reproduce, have maybe 50 to 30% of the reproductive output of females of the same age who don't have sons. So 14 of those 24 reproductive age females who could reproduce this year are already taking care of at least one son. So that really leaves us with 10 females who could reproduce and are likely to reproduce within a given year. Obviously, not every female who is capable of reproducing does every year. So when we fit our models and we estimate our parameters, age-specific fecundity and correlations between survival and reproduction, our median estimate, so when we run all of our simulations, the average kind of estimate is that we might get 2 calves within the next 12 months. That would be pretty good. There's a whole bunch of those simulations where we don't get any calves within the next 12 months, and there's some worlds in which we get up to 7 calves. It's really hard with the small population and with as much what we call demographic and environmental stochasticity to easily predict what's going to happen year to year, even when you have quite good data. As Joe kind of mentioned, the delisting criteria for the southern residents is to have a population growth rate of 2.3% over I believe, 28-year period. We have rarely hit that even for a single year in the whole course of the study. In order to get there, there's a few different ways you can do that, right? Population growth is a product of 2 important vital rates, reproduction and survival. I've been talking about the reproductive potential. So one thing that could happen is if we had a lot more females over a long period of time and a larger portion of the population was represented by reproductive age females, maybe that gets you there to, probably not 2.3%, but 1%. Now, that's not something we can influence, right? We can't decide what whether female killer whales have male or female offspring, as far as we know. The other way to do it is you increase survival rates and you increase reproductive rates. Survival rates are very, very strongly correlated with Chinook salmon availability. So these, indices, these area-based indices of Chinook salmon abundance. Not surprising, I'm guessing, to this crowd, but a significant increase to Chinook availability would increase survival rates quite a bit. The link with reproduction is less clear. Now, part of that is just a sample size issue. Reproductive rates, we only have those. So, for example, in this year, when we're looking at a sample size of whether individuals survive or not, we can look at the whole population. Whereas when we're looking at a sample size of who reproduces, we have a much smaller number of individuals. So it takes longer to understand the statistical relationship between the environment and reproduction compared to the environment and survival. It may also be that there's just a less clear relationship between our measures of salmon abundance and reproduction, potentially because these whales are stressed fairly regularly, even at what is relatively high levels of salmon for the last few decades. Those toxicants that Joe mentioned, a lot of what they do is mess with reproductive cycles. We're still kind of trying to understand the dose response within killer whales or marine mammals generally, but that's fairly well established. And from the hormone data, we know that pregnancies are more likely to fail in females who are nutritionally stressed. So what can we do to get the population up to 1% or 2.3%? There's really no big silver bullet. There's no one thing we can do. As Joe said, if we just fix salmon, unless we really, really fix salmon very quickly, we might not get there. I think the flip side of that coin that's important to mention, that is, in tandem with that point, while a strategy of just trying to increase salmon abundance isn't likely to recover the population to the degree we'd like, there's really no strategy that we can implement that doesn't include increasing salmon abundance that will lead to recovery. So salmon abundance is necessary, but maybe not sufficient to get the population recovering. So we do need to look at toxicants, we do need to look at noise, and we need to look at potential, other health risks from inbreeding and disease. But if we can't do just those things, any one of those strategies or any combination of them has to include recovering salmon populations if we are going to increase the population and get them to that growing stage. And I'm going to kind of cut myself off there and save the rest for the discussion so we can have plenty of time.
This was part of Tuesday, right, Howard?
I'm sorry? What?
This was on Tuesday?
It was on Tuesday, yes. Right, just last week. And I think he very, clearly cleared it up that without salmon restoration, without Chinook salmon restoration, we're not going to see any recovery of the southern residents, no increase at all. And that's from the survival statistics that are very tightly correlated. But also, even though it's a much smaller number and not as much data, and so the statistics can't be quite as clear, but reproduction is severely impaired by lack of nutrition of big, nutritious, high-calorie Chinook salmon. But there are some points of good news on the horizon. There was a salmon came up the Klamath River, 230 miles up the Klamath River, less than 2 months after those dams were removed. I mean, that will is there, that mission in life is there of the salmon. I believe that was a coho, I'm not sure. But orcas will eat coho. They're not quite as big and fatty as the king salmon, as the Chinook, but they certainly will eat them. And in fact, that is probably what J-Pod is filling up on right now in the Possession Triangle just south of Whidbey Island, is coho salmon, because this is the month. It's a short season. They're not as year-round as Chinook. So they kind of come in a pulse. And right now, this month of October and November are that pulse. And so that's why J-Pod is here. And they don't care about the wind. They dive right under it and catch fish. So they just kind of roll around and surf in the waves. They don't mind. So it's really good to see them here. And also, there is other good news that the Willamette River in Oregon, recently restored, is getting a huge influx of coho salmon. So they seem to be doing really well this year. For whatever reason, who knows, but coho are doing pretty well. So hopefully L-Pod and K-Pod that are out in the Pacific right now, they were not at Swiftsure Bank. What was that, a couple of days ago before the wind hit, when Mark Mallison went out there. He didn't find them, so they were probably further down the coast. They kind of oscillate between the mouth of the Columbia River, which of course leads right up to the Snake River. So it's where the Snake River salmon and all the other salmon for the entire Columbia Basin up into Canada, Oregon, all over, will come in. They'll home right in there to go spawn. So that's where they tend to congregate, is right there before the fish get into the river. So that's probably where they are right now. So there are some glimmers of some good news. And we saw a whole bunch of Chinook in the Elwha River when we were there about a month ago. So they're probably streaming upstream along with the steelhead. So when you take the dams down, the fish will come. The salmon will repopulate the streams and the spawning grounds when those dams are removed. So that's what we got to do.
Marcia?
You're muted.
Okay. I have a little bit of news that's out of the Gulf of Alaska. They recently were doing a lot of pollock dragging, the big industrial trawlers up there, and they caught in one haul 2,000 Chinook, which put them over their bycatch limit immediately, and they were told to stand down, which they did. And the other ship, their sister ship, pulled all their gear out of the water. So I hope I'm getting this all correct, but the pollock fishery in that area, and it's a pretty wide area, has been stopped for now because of that Chinook bycatch. And hopefully, the pressure is just mounting in Alaska to figure out how we can stop this craziness. But I posted a lot about that in my blog today. So it's on pause. So some of those Chinook may make it south, into some of the rivers to spawn if they get a break from these trawlers, so.
Well, that's great that there's that much attention to it, and that there is some limit anyway that will actually shut down the fishing. But that limit needs to be limited even more. There will be a meeting of the North Pacific Fishery Management Council in January. I believe it's in Anchorage. And it's a public meeting. And I think there's going to be a lot of gearing up to really cut back on those bottom trawls, because they are so destructive of the whole benthic, the bottom ecosystem, everything that lives on the bottom that ultimately feeds everything else is being just wiped out, just scraped off the bottom by those trawls.
They're horrible.
Oh, they're horrible. And to mention, I believe 18 orcas have been drowned since 2012. And those are just the numbers that are reported. So it's likely much higher than that. So, I think people have reached their limit with this destruction. And I really hope something changes soon. It's hard being so far away down here in Florida,
Right. Well, it's public attention, from anywhere.
Right.
We'll bring it to light, and that'll make, the regulators do the right thing.
How long are they on pause?
I think, I don't think it's a long pause. Might be a month. Maybe Brandy knows. She has her hand up.
Go ahead, Brandy.
It's until November. It's so
short.
That's only a month. And I think that's the biggest problem is Howard, that'll be really great. And that to get that information about when that meeting is, because I think that's the biggest problem, is that they don't have a whole lot of voices coming forward. It's growing, and I think the awareness is so important. It's so important because those fish are migratory, right? And just like you said, Howard, that's just too much. Those fish need to be coming back.
Yeah, it's just wasted by the thousands of Chinook.
It is so bad. David's group is pretty dang large. Maybe we can get him to come back on. He was on here. And I think, just because of this group and the advocacy and the sharing that you all did, I mean, his group grew big time after it was brought to our awareness, and that's what we have to keep doing. So let's share that again. Let's let that group get massive, because those are the folks that we need to go to that meeting. Those are the folks that need to be there, the people who are up there. And it'll be interesting to see what's that, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks pause. It'll be interesting to see how much make it down. Peggy?
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that information, Howard, about the meeting coming up. I'm gathering that there's probably going to be some salmon conservation organizations at this conference. Is that correct?
I assume so, but the best source of information is David's Facebook group, the Stop Trawler Bycatch Facebook group, if I've got that name right. But anyway, you can find it and join in, and it's new information daily. It's a very active group.
Yeah.
So check up on that, and that'll get us the latest.
So something else I'd like to add is as far as this bycatch of the Chinook and other salmon, especially those that are listed endangered, like the Chinook. I'm hoping that some of these salmon advocacy organizations will be at this conference talking about how there's probably a pretty good amount of data on the location and migration patterns and seasonality and all that of these species. And to basically tell the trawlers they just can't trawl during those periods when those salmon are passing through the range that they're fishing. I'm hoping that people are going to be talking about that there.
Something has to be done,
Yeah.
to not fish during the migrations, but it's, well, I don't know. I really don't know the intricacies of what would be the acceptable time in that case.
Yeah. Because I'd also like to add, just kind of going back a few comments back about how destructive the fishing industry is, and the number of orcas just in that Alaska trawl, the deaths. When we look at the worldwide numbers, I'm going to say this again, I've said it before, the International Whaling Commission Scientific Committee has it on their website that over 308,000, I hope people will really take that number to heart, 308,000 whales and dolphins every year die of either bycatch or entanglement. This is the fishing industry. And as long as people are eating fish, they are basically supporting this just staggering death of cetaceans. And then sea turtles, the numbers are like 250,000 a year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the marine species are being devastated. So I just hope people who are listening to me will go, wow. So if I'm eating pollock, or if I'm eating this or other seafood, this is what I'm contributing to. So I'm really glad that I'm not. So just wanting to share that.
Thanks, Peggy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcia, for bringing that. Today is really all about, like, we got to get back in action, right? And that's a huge one. That's a huge one. Those trawlers are disgusting. They're disgusting, what they're doing, and the fact that it's considered bycatch, and this is what our whales are needing. This is what our orcas are starving for, and it's bycatch for them. It's just it's nuts. It's just nuts. So that's important. Marcia, maybe we can look to you to kind of keep tabs on that, you and Brandy, and then I don't mind reaching out to David and just see maybe we can get him back up, and he can kind of give us an idea of how we can support as well. I mean, yes, absolutely, going to his page, following his page and the conversations there. I had it up a minute ago. I'm gonna try to find it again because it's way up here. Oh, there it is. Deb Cruz is on it. And then she also put the link. She also put a different link on there for the North Pacific Fishery Management Council that shows the meetings and stuff like that. So those are some actions you can take this week. Peggy, why don't we kind of go over to you at this point, and then we'll go to Christina after you. But what you got going on? What can we be doing right now?
Well, real quickly, we've been talking about the activist pack and bringing it with us to events and things. This is one of the posters from our downloadable activist pack. Yesterday, I went to a book signing because there's a great new book, Giant Robot, 35 Years, and they included the interview with me in it. The best article about me, Peggy Okie skateboarder, Dogtown Z Boys. And so I collected a bunch of postcards. I said, they asked me to sign the post. I go, oh, would you like to sign a postcard? So, we're on it. And I'm working on, are you able to show any of the images of the origami orcas that I'm working on?
I'm not sure that I have those.
Okay, yeah, it was hard. I couldn't send any higher resolution ones to you either. So I'm just going to share that I'm working on an environmental art project, and it's been a real process, especially when in the midst of this, we got the news about L128. And so I'm very close to completion on my origami orcas to represent every member of the JK and L's and their matrilines, and also making note of those that are in a BC1 status, of which there are 14, plus one that's in BC2 status. BC1 means 2 to 3 times probability of mortality. So that's 14 out of 73. orcas. And I also, for today, there's a celebration of Dia de los Muertos in Santa Barbara. So I'm going to bring this, which is basically a commemoration of all the orcas, southern resident orcas that have passed in the past year, 2023, 24. And then this one here is TokiTV. Of course, she wasn't in the wild with her family, but she did pass, and I'm honoring her. So one of the things I'd like to say, are you able to upload any of the quotes that I sent you?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay. Every moment is an organizing opportunity. Every person, a potential activist. Every minute, a chance to change the world. This is Dolores Huerta, who worked with Cesar Chavez in California, creating the United Farm Workers Union to help the farm workers to unionize and get some relatively fair wages and all these things. So, you know, she's like a really right-on activist who I wanted to quote, because we really need to rally. There's an activist in everybody. And on our we've updated our Southern Resident Orcas page with, as I said, that one petition from Raincoast Conservation. And we've added here a powerful way to raise awareness and collect postcards for the Southern resident killer whales. Set up a table at local events, fairs, or farmers markets. Ask local shops or cafes, just like how Christina has done, to display postcards and collect them on site. Organize postcard writing parties with friends, family, or community groups. Partner with local schools and integrate postcard writing into class projects. Reach out to your local retirement community. Retired folks often have more time on their hands, and that's thanks to Deborah Eller sharing that action that she's doing. Utilize social media to invite people to download and send postcards directly to our activists through our activist pack. So one other quote that I've stated before, and I'm going to share again, which is also on our webpage. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And I just cannot reiterate enough how much we need everybody to get on board. Let's do this. The Southern residents don't have a lot of time, and we've already had so much heartbreak, and it's time to get to a point where we can celebrate. I'd like to share one more thing real quickly. Were you able to, Annette, get the Vandenberg articles screenshots that I sent you?
Let's see. They're kind of small, so I'm going to put it up and see what we got.
Okay.
Not that one, right?
No, that's fine. And then the next one after would be great. So this one, I have been actively campaigning on this matter of increased missile launches out of Vandenberg Space Force Base in California up the coast from where I live. It's not an inconvenience to me to be woken up in the middle of the night by a sonic boom, but I think about all the animals, all the wildlife between Vandenberg Space Force Base, across the Santa Barbara Channel where all the whales are, and through this Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. So I've been working on this. I've been writing letters writing opinion letters that have been published in the local Carpinteria paper and 3 in the Santa Barbara Independent. I was inspired by this writer, Nick Welsh, and he's just really been helping out with this. And I've contacted numerous organizations, reached out on social media, trying to get people to get involved. And there's only so far been 3 organizations, and they're not like massive organizations that have gotten involved, but I really want to applaud them. And then can we get to the next one, please? This is a photo that I took of the haul out right in front of where I live. This is about 50 miles down the coast from Vandenberg Space Force Base. And these harbor seals, when there's a sonic boom, will flush. They will flee to the ocean. And at Vandenberg, anyways, bottom line, after the Coastal Commission hearing a week and a half ago, the Coastal Commission denied the Air Force application for a permit for 50 launches per year. That was just a small group of us making a difference. So we can make a difference. And it's not about just feeling sad and going, oh, I can't do anything. You can empower yourself and you will feel better and stronger. So let's do this. Let's save the southern resident orcas. Thank you, Annette.
You're so awesome, Peggy. Thank you. Thank you for that. You guys, there you go. Deb Cruz is on it today. Like, I think of a link and it's there. Like, that's but cetaceans.org, you guys, you need to go check that out. Very, very cool. Being in action. Another action I want to bring to your guys' attention. Those of you in Florida, let me put this up on the screen real quick. You know, how do you make a difference? You vote, right? And I'm going to share this here. A lot of buttons to press to share something. But you know, there's this whole web page here that talks about, so you go to no22.org, and it tells you all of the reasons why you should vote no to Amendment 2 in Florida. The World Animal Protection says this dangerous and misleading amendment will strip Florida citizens of their power to protect and conserve wild animals. It's designed to trick voters into allowing some of the cruelest forms of hunting and prevent citizens, scientists, and agencies from protecting wildlife in the future. World Animal Protection says a resounding no to Florida Amendment 2, 2024. It's a threat to people's private property rights. It's a threat to wildlife. It's a threat to marine populations. Simple thing, you know, when you go and you vote, please pay attention to that amendment. Those of you in Florida, and vote no to 2, please. It's really, really important. So those of you in Florida, go to no2.org, take a screenshot, do whatever, blast it on your social medias. Anyone you know in Florida, even if you don't, just put it on your page. Somebody may know someone and want to share that. It's really important. I see my friend Kim's watching right now in Florida. So yeah, please go to no2.org. Vote for the planet, you guys. Vote for the environment, and that amendment there in Florida is very destructive. So please, please, please vote no to 2. Wanted to add that in there. There's other actions coming up, other actions everyone's taking. Brandy's been taking actions. Everyone, you guys just live it, and I love it. So Christina, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
I just wanted to say what Peggy said again, because we all need to have parties that we're writing letters. We all need to do, and if you don't like to, you know, go out to the farmer's market, you know, or you know, deal with the public a lot, that's okay, because what you can do is you can make an orca action station. See? Out of a shoebox. This is just a shoebox, okay? I mean, it's a cute one, and so I just had these orcas and I cut them out, and I cut some of the postcards out, and then I made a little slot with this X-Acto knife, and then you can put your little postcard right in there, and you can leave this like anywhere that you know people, like at your hairdresser, Brandy, maybe. Like someone you know pretty well, they usually are pretty receptive, especially if they already know, because you're already telling them about the southern residents, because that's what we do, right? So you just say, oh, well, hey, you know, and you leave some literature. I have like, you know, some Breach Now myths and facts from Damnation. You can get this on Damnation. I have just a little, you know, blurb about, you know, did you know that the orcas are going extinct? They're on the brink of extinction, and this is what you can do. Write to President Biden. And, you know, Peggy has done a couple of just short notes, like, because I have left these stations at other places before, but they were just, you know, printed out letters. And so they just had to sign and put their zip code. But so now I'm asking them to do a couple of sentences so they can actually be handwritten. And it's really easy, especially if you know people. Like next time I'm going to this little boutique, it's called Evolve, and they're just like all sustainable and organic. And I know that they're just going to say yes, because I've talked to her over and over about the Southern residents, because I'm always usually wearing, you know, a t-shirt or something that says Breach Now or a whale tail or whatever, right? So so she can have those. It's getting busy now with Christmas coming up. You know, any kind of a place you can think of that might accept something like this, and then you can just leave it there and then go back and get it. And that's just if you're shy or if you're too busy, right? Because there's lots of things that we can do with people we know. Like Peggy said, having a postcard party. It's fun. It's really fun. I just had one on the equinox and I got a bunch of handwritten postcards. So everyone can do something, and you know, and make your family do it. And I'm serious, make them. That's what I do. I'm like, you have to do this now, and they do it because I'm the mom, and you know, they want to keep me happy because you know what they say. So those are some ideas, and Peggy's go to Peggy's site because she has everything you need if you do want to go to the farmers market. Or now with the holidays coming up, there's going to be a lot of bazaars and craft places that you can just go and set up your table. Usually if it's outside, sometimes you have to get permission, or you can just go with somebody else who's already doing it. That's what I've done a lot with bazaars and stuff. I just go up with a friend and we have a little table and we get all this, as many as we can, signed. So those are a couple of good ideas. Also, Peggy and I were talking about starting a campaign to end the trawling, or at least get a halt on it. So I'm glad you brought that up, Howard, because that's been on everyone's mind, really, you know, like major. We want to target the right person and just, you know, start bombarding them with emails and letters and everything. So we all can do something. We all have the power to change this, and we're going to do it. I know we are. Look at you guys. You're awesome. So that's my little hoorah, and hopefully you guys can do something like a station or whatever.
I love the station idea, Christina, because I am busy, but I could make that really cool thing and you know, leave it with, I know a lot of business owners, and then with, thanks to Peggy's website, stations.org, you guys can go there and just get the what's so, right? Here's the reasons, here's your talking points. It's all there. It's an easy activist pack. You just download it. All the information you need is there. So if you can't be there to say it, or if you just want to brush up and know on the top of your head some of these reasons, just read that, but print it. How easy is that? Print it, leave it there, and people can read for themselves all the reasons they should be writing. Go ahead, Peggy.
Oh, thanks, Annette. I just wanted to thank Christina for directing people to our citations.org site, and I would like to acknowledge that it's not just me. It's Madison O'Connell. Her nickname is Mads, who's been tremendously helpful with the website, the web page and stuff. I share ideas and we run the ideas back and forth and go, yeah, how about this and how about that? And then she's helping to keep the web pages tidy and running social media posts and things. So it's definitely not just one of us, and that's true with what we're doing. It's so many of us, and we need more. So let's do this.
Do it. Thanks, Mads. We do appreciate you. Come on here. You can come hang out with us too. So everyone, because there's so many people doing so many things. I do want to share this photo Christina sent me. This is beautiful. 137 species rely on Chinook salmon for their way of survival, including the southern resident orcas. That is a real photo, just saying. We have to kind of say that now. I think a lot of times with the AI stuff, but I've seen that as well. It's a beautiful photo. And it's true. We're talking about orcas, but there's 137 species, you guys. Just like in Florida, again, so many species and animals are depending on you to vote no on Amendment 2. And I'm going to keep saying that and keep saying it because people are early voting. People are voting now. It's really important. Christina?
Yes, voting is extremely important. It is so important to vote for all of the reasons that you're talking about. And also, I like to mention voting with your dollar, because when you vote with your dollar, basically whatever you're purchasing is the kind of world that you want to live in. So I always think about that. You know, I don't want to buy stuff that are coming in on ship containers that's adding to the noise pollution for all of the cetaceans and all of all of the animals, you know, not just them, and polluting the Salish Sea and the oceans in general. So, you know, try to buy local and organic and, you know, stuff like that. Vote with your dollar as well as voting. I mean, not because please vote. Yes, but I like to mention voting with your dollar. Don't buy stuff from China, you know, just buy something else.
I think Marcia wants to say something, and then we're going to close out with what's happening this week. Marcia?
Just a short comment to piggyback off of what Christina was saying. Recently on the Stop the Bycatch Facebook page, there's been a lot of talk about McDonald's and the fast food industry and their use of pollock, and it's the only source used in all of those fish sandwiches and, you know, all of that stuff. And so I think that's very important because McDonald's is everywhere. It's everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are, you know. So the more you can let people know, like if you're eating pollock, there's a meme that somebody put on that page, which is an AI meme, and it's a sandwich with an orca as the middle of that sandwich, and it's really a shocking image. And I think they may be having a meme contest somehow on that page.
Yeah.
So I like that because those memes can be shared everywhere and that can go global. So stop eating McDonald's garbage and all those other fast food. Yeah, it's bad for the whole thing. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. That's voting with your buck too, right?
And Elizabeth just said, I wonder if it's worth calling Costco to ask them to stop carrying products with pollock. Everything's worth it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do it.
All right. Brandy, and then we're going to close out.
And I just wanted to, end with this too. What she says at the end of Seaspiracy, not one can do something, but someone can do everything. And I think that's the biggest thing is our collective works. Wherever we can, how everything that we do will affect a ripple effect that we can hopefully get these things going, to save the southern residents, to end the trawling. Because bottom line is the ocean dies, we all die. That's the bottom line. And I think that we can no longer turn away and hope it's going to be someone else's problem. It's our problem now, and we have the responsibility to do all that we can. So I love that message, Peggy. I love that when people go, oh, it's just me. No, but together we can. The squeaky wheel will get the oil. It will. Just need to squeak really loud.
Yeah. Sorry. Can I make one more comment? I'm a person that is about solutions, and so there's a problem, there's something that's making me very sad or something. I don't just let that bum me out. I'm going to do something. And so one of the solutions as far as seafood and not eating seafood, there are so many plant-based seafood alternatives out there now. And I'd like to share a resource. It's www.fishfeel.org, FISHFEEL.org. And even in your local supermarket, like whatever, Albertsons, wherever, they have Gardein brand, GARDEIN brand, and they are GMO, non-GMO. They're healthier, a lot healthier than eating fish, which is now they're swimming in contaminated waters and stuff. So I hope people will check out some of these options and visit fishfeel.org to see those long list of over 70 plant-based seafood alternatives.
Thanks, Peggy. I want to share something with you guys, and then we'll talk about it. Let's see. Here we go. guys. This is Tuesday, so I want to bring it to everyone's attention. This is coming up on Tuesday. One People Gathering is a movement toward healing and unity, inviting everyone to engage with Indigenous voices. Netzamat, or One Heart, One Mind, reflects our commitment to shared humanity and values of gratitude, generosity, and respect in a divided world. In the face of threats like war, political unrest, climate change, and cultural differences, it's time to confront these challenges and rise above them as one united force, one people. So Children of the Setting Sun is inviting everyone to join. This is Tuesday night, 7:30 to 9 at the Paramount Theater in Seattle. If you guys go to settingsunproductions.org, you will find the link there to get tickets. They're $20. This is going to be a powerful event. You can see all the folks who are going to be there. And I also want to state that Shirley Bob and the Bob family are one of the families who are going to be there opening this up. So if you guys are in Seattle and can make it, I really wish I could be there. I believe that's going to be a powerful event. Howard, are you going by chance to that?
I intend to, yes, hoping that I could. Yeah.
Awesome. So I hope you guys can be there. Just wanted to point that out. I'm again really wishing I could. So if you're in that area, please go and share that. Children of Setting Sun Productions is putting this on right now as part of that event planning. I said she's in Toronto and then she's flying in on that day to be there for that. But that's going to be a powerful gathering. So hopefully we'll get some more info and we can share on that next week as well. Peggy?
I just found I also just found the Facebook page and the Facebook page event for that screening. So if
Awesome.
so any of us can post it.
Awesome. And it's a gathering, so it's not a screening, but it's a gathering. So it's an in-person gathering. I'm going to put that up right now. Facebook.com/children SSP. If you guys can see that there. So yeah, you guys go check it out. It'll be good. Oh yeah, Deb Cruz is putting that there. Howard, anything we need to say before we close out today?
Just this has been wonderful. So much good information, inspiration, and good fun. So thank you all on the screen and at home.
I love the creativity and all the new suggestions on actions that people could take. Like Christina today, thanks. I'm gonna make me some shoeboxes and get going with that because it's be productive and you don't even have to be there. So there we go.
Exactly. Breach the dam. Breach the dams. There's so many postcards available too. Any postcards that I post are free dibs. You can just print them out and do it. Whatever one you like is great. Yep. I love you.
I love you guys. I'm going to put this up and then we're going to close out. Oh, Marcia, go ahead.
I just want to say it's a very special birthday for somebody on the panel today or tomorrow. Isn't it? Isn't there a birthday tomorrow? I believe it's Christina's birthday tomorrow.
For the sea.
Christina's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, my dear.
Happy birthday, Christina.
Happy birthday, Christina.
I can't sing. You don't want me to sing. But if anyone else can, feel free.
Happy birthday to you.
All right. Love you guys. Get in action for Christina's birthday. That's what she wants for her birthday. Write a postcard.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you next week.
Toki.